Hi, good evening. My name's Albert. This is my show. It's called VlogsBoutNothin. If you randomly stumbled upon the channel, stay tuned. Indulge me. I live a whole life of public scrutiny, as it would be here, as a YouTube content creator who defines himself and the content that's currently being produced on the channel as very old school and classic in that, yeah, I'm entering the classical realm of my non-existent career as a middle-aged man. Yeah, I'm just saying thank you for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. It's always the journey that is so much more fun and rewarding than any destination will ever be. Trust me. It's just so that's why life is so fun, and it's so important and it's so cool because it's like the best version of, random chaotic gameplay options you could have, so yeah, I hope that you guys are having a really good night. I really do. And again, thank you for watching my channel. We talk about a whole lot of nothing here, but we definitely have said some things that have, may have angered some people and stuff. That's not my intention. My intention is to make you laugh. My intention is to, throw up a good vibe in your presence, is to just kind of be the background noise, as I've always said. So, with that being said, thanks. Seriously. I want to talk tonight about rec centers. So, quick story, right? Little sidebar. As a freshman in high school, I was introduced to a program called AmeriCorps, and working with AmeriCorps, a federal branch of the government that focuses on civic engagement and so forth. I had the pleasure and the opportunity of working for nearly a decade with children as a literacy leader, at a local elementary school. Also, as the oldest of five, I have experience with being a responsible person around children. You know what I mean? And so there was a point in my life where I was really, really a proponent and advocate, and obviously still am, but when you're younger and you're participating in think tank discussions, it's a little bit different. Trust me, in that the policy ramifications and so forth. But schools as centers for communities has always been the fundamentally single biggest way to succeed in local micro communities around the world. Um, this specific model, right, is something that's been studied both by academics and scholars alike for maybe 5 or 6 decades. But I bring this up as a prelude to rec centers because schools are hubs for communities. Schools are where working adults in different industries congregate to blend in a social way their children's lifestyle and influenced environments as younger children, in either a good or a bad way, right? In that, like, public schools like mean so much to me. I hear so many stories about public schools and their lack of just general teaching, but again, just because of the state that I'm from and because the quality of public education here and all of my background in trying to make public education better, I would say that that's why I think schools are the center for our communities. In schools are located, recreation centers. And this is the other thing, is that if schools are hubs for the community, then as a central hub, that's where you'd find the majority of sociable recreational community activities. You take this on a rich scale level, and that's all, the rich people in the nice neighborhoods do when they go to the country club. They're going to a privately funded rec center. I mean, the hub for that community is centrally located, just as it is typically in working class neighborhoods, at schools. So there's a lot of vital resources at public schools. They are, in fact, you know, the arm that connects to Uncle Sam's good old pocket, given cash hands. Schools have a very intimate relationship with the federal government, and that's an important relationship I feel like to have because it can increase community participation in a number of different categories that help people have better lives. So at a rec center, you can, meet people, you can socialize, not to mention that you can physically work out, you can obtain community based resources as it concerns your local neighborhood, where there are food banks, where there are destinations for low income seniors to go eat. And even if they are not low income seniors, the opportunity to socialize when you're a senior citizen with other people your age, you feel me, is important. And I think it's cool that most rec centers absolutely have that mission at hand when they offer senior citizens free lunch for low income and just $1 if you make too much money, meaning that the balance is pretty even there, right? In that the people who can afford to go, that want to go, get to save some money and also meet people, and the people who arguably are forced to go because things are expensive and they can't afford, the kind of traditional eating that they might be able to afford if they had more money to play the game, different story. But I'm just saying, like, I really feel like rec centers are a vital, vital part of society, just so much as public libraries are. And it's weird because, like, both rec centers and public libraries are places that you hear upper class people talk about like some sort of, skin disease, in that like they find no benefit, in them whatsoever, until like a bunch of people get mad about banned books and decide to go to your local library and try to close it because they're all hurt about, distributing banned books, when it's sort of like the library is like Switzerland. The library should be a neutral place. It's a collection of aggregated data, from decades of sentient beings. Whether or not you agree with, the factual stuff in there is not really the question, because it still doesn't change the fact that it's a fact, but more or less like the fiction and stuff in there and the creative process. And again, moreover, the importance of having a public place to socialize and have meaningful discussions to improve your life. So, the next time you hear somebody talk stuff about the public library, right, or in this case, a rec center, you know, keep in mind that, like, those are two institutions that are helping what otherwise could be a catastrophic problem. In that, yes, homeless people often frequent public libraries. Yes, um, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. If the libraries weren't there, they would go somewhere else and it wouldn't be safe. And not just for them, right? But, think about it if you need to in a selfish way as a community member and your safety. But for me, it's more about, also their safety or whatever. So, a rec center, always the kind of vibe that I got attending public school was, even in public school, essentially we're all just normal working class poor kids, you know what I mean? But like there was the stigma of going to after school programs because your parents didn't care about you, or they couldn't afford to pick you up, or they had stupid jobs. I mean, these are the kinds of things that are discussed amongst little people when they're around big people that are bad people. I mean, again, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and kids don't just, become racist on their own, I dare say, or discriminatory on their own. At some point, there's an adult explaining to them, or not, why or why not they might or may not be better than a person. That's crazy, right? I mean, seriously, when you think about that, because I think openly, and on the surface, we all say things, right? But then, like, within the confines of our home, we're just like, oh, well, hey, you actually are better than that person or whatever. And it just gets weird and convoluted. So, rec centers are a great, great resource for communities. Again, similar to your public library and similar to public schools, they are a vital component of maintaining stability, and by maintaining stability is the best kind of way to provide opportunity for the greatest number of people, that reside within that community. And so, yeah, go rec centers. They're not ghetto places. People and parents should consider sending their children more into the after school scene as it concerns rec centers, and again, just its overall value that it adds to little people's lives later on, because they've been around other ethnicities and cultures, and without that, then they know nothing different, and they might fall through the cracks, and not in a way that working poor traditional class students do, but in a way that will lead them to be Richards later on, And again, we created that Richard. The Richard didn't just decide to be a Richard, right? So environment means a lot. The way that we talk means a lot. And so again, the rec center means a lot. If you haven't been to your local rec center, again, I mean, I know that we're all doing pretty good here as Western Americans, but unless you got your own gym, your own library, and public, readily available access to services and random strangers, I mean, like, that's called a rec center. So I hope that you guys have a really good night, and thank you so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate it.